what I love about it is that the months that have historically led up to these risk assessments, it's the hustle, it's the grind, it's important. But if you could unlock all of that and then save the 20% about strategy, about decision making, about how are we going to use this information to change the way we do things, like then you're really, really cooking with gas.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Data Cloud Now. We're currently in Las Vegas at Money 2020 where I'm now delighted to be joined by Simone Garreau. Such a pleasure sitting down with you. Thank you again for joining me.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
Simone, Block's mission is to empower a global economy. With that in mind, what is the most significant trend you're seeing in how fintechs are moving from a reactive trust me approach to risk management to say a proactive show me the data approach?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. And at Block, this year has been absolutely transformational. And so I work in enterprise risk, right? And what that really means is I'm looking at about 23 risks across the entire company.
Wow.
And so there's a lot we talk about in fintech around regulatory and compliance and that kind of stuff. And although that is a huge focus of my portfolio, it's really only about maybe a fourth or a fifth of what I focus on. And so when you look at risk so holistically, that's really the context that I'm thinking about how to use AI and a lot of the changes that are coming through in the fintech space. And I'd like to take a second and just tell you a little bit about our year.
Love that.
Because it's really been next level and been a huge highlight of my career. So, I'm at Block. Some people know Block, but most people know our products, which is Cash App, Square, and Afterpay. And we also have some really cool Bitcoin hardware that we're working on. And so we're always trying to push the boundaries and really think about our customers and how best to show up for our customers. And this year, towards the beginning of the year, Jack Dorsey, our CEO, rolled out Goose. And Goose is our open source AI agent. And Goose, anyone can use. So it's open source, it is open to anyone who's listening to this, you can build on it. And what it really does is it democratizes, in my view, a lot of this work. And so you can start doing product builds, workflow builds, and iterating generally and not be a technical expert. So I don't have a technical background, and I was able to upskill this year and learn how to adapt AI to enterprise risk work. And my entire team did it together. And the way that we really did it is by leaning into Jack's push. He canceled all meetings.
Whoa.
Yeah. We basically deleted all emails, and we were supposed to just sit and learn and upscale and start using the work to make our workflows better, to make our thinking better. And I really helped my team lean into this. Like I said, we're non-technical. I often make the joke that enterprise risk is a great haven for liberal arts majors. But this May, we were all together in London, and I told them, now is our chance. If there is anyone in the world, really, that can understand how to turn risk management and AI into something incredible, it's the people that are sitting in that room. And so we basically did a hack month. And we came back we came back in May for a month and used Goose to solve our enterprise risk problems.
It's incredible.
And I just wanted participation. Yeah. I like to say that it's better to suck than to skip. But what was incredible is what came out of that month is an AI agent we like to call Ernie that I think is changing everything.
I'm looking forward to, we're actually going to dive into Ernie a little bit later. Block has a unique approach to managing risk. Can you explain how you're moving past beyond a gut feeling to use data as evidence, and how is your custom AI agent Ernie making that possible at Block's global scale?
So the biggest unlock for me is for really my entire career, forward-leaning risk teams have all thought the same thing, which is let's get this risk work into decision-making. And for me, that key is data, right? And historically, we've had access to risk data, things like in our GRC tools, right? Our governance, risk, and compliance tools. So we have our audit boards, we have our Protect, And that has things like inherent risk and our controls and all the audit trails and things like that. And that's great. But if you believe risk is about decision making, then all data is risk data. And the incredible unlock we've had is that we're able to put Goose and then Ernie, and Ernie basically looks at our entire enterprise risk methodology and all of our policies and all of our procedures and our entire little world in Ernie, which is on top of Goose. And Goose can now query any data lake we need it to in order to unlock this data that has been used for other things that now can be used to measure risk. And that's been a huge part of the Snowflake interconnection. So for example, we can go and say, can you query Snowflake and tell us what controls are being used now that we could then expand if we were to move Cash App into Peru? And so it's live data feeds that have always been there, but are now being used to solve problems that we've never had access to before.
Talk about a game changer,
Yeah,
Simone.
it's been cool.
It's incredible. And to make this process work, you need a robust, unified data platform. And I want to dive into Snowflake specifically. How does the AI Data Cloud enable your team to connect all of Block's disparate data to use it to power your agentic AI systems?
So when I look at sort of our stakeholders with Ernie, there's 3 sections of folks that we work with that has completely been a game changer for. So the way that I think about it is Ernie, my first customer is my own team. So I ask my team all the time, how are you using Ernie and how are you using Goose? And I'm getting great answers. Like they're getting key risk indicators done in like 15 minutes for these niche risks, these niche sub risks. They are querying Snowflake and Ernie to come up with better board packets so we can give better data to our boards very quickly. And just generally speaking, turning the enterprise risk management team into a much richer set of experts to be able to share this out to our board and our executives. The other group of folks that I think about all the time are our stakeholders that are really our risk owners. And they're the folks who are really the SMEs on each of the risks we track. And they have a lot of work to do to manage their own risk. And so now our privacy lead can go on Ernie and say, I need to do a privacy risk assessment. Can you help me? And Ernie's response is, welcome. We're so excited to help you with a privacy risk assessment that is embedded with ERM's risk management methodology. And so you're able to cut down on these risk assessments, from a time perspective, at least 80%.
And ease of use as well.
And complete ease of use, And what I love about it is that it's that the months that have historically led up to these risk assessments, it's the hustle, it's the grind, it's important. But if you can unlock all of that and then save the 20% about strategy, about decision making, about how are we going to use this information to change the way we do things, then you're really, really cooking with gas.
And I think very much allowing your key team members to focus on their greatest assets, the skill to make sure that they're pushing the business ahead.
That's exactly right.
I absolutely love it. Now I want to look towards the future. As you look ahead, how do you see the next wave of AI innovation continuing to evolve enterprise risk from a necessary control function within an organization into a powerful engine for business growth and innovation?
I really believe my job is just to facilitate one idea at Block, which is what are the trade-offs, what are the costs, and what are the benefits to that cost, right? And that is a C-suite executive question that team is grappling with. But also that's what we're grappling with every day, right? I mean, people are doing risk management in their lives and in their works 1 million times a day.
Whether they realize it or not.
Yeah, they just don't call it that because they're doing those trade-offs, right? And so when I get really excited and think blue sky about Ernie, I think, how do I open source my risk expertise, right? How do I democratize everything that I know and my team knows and really make it part of the infrastructure of how Block works? And so my dream is really to have Ernie in the pocket of every single person at Block. So when they come up with ideas and they come up with business plans, the first person they ask is, Ernie, what do you think? what are our controls? What are our mitigations? What kind of gaps will we have to think through to understand where to go next? And Ernie's now at 3.0 scale, ready to have those conversations. And that is incredibly exciting to me.
Simone, it's been such a pleasure, but before we wrap, what are you most excited for what's next for Block?
I mean, people ask me what my year has looked like, and I talk about all this AI stuff, but what I really haven't talked about is sort of how I got there. And what's incredible is I was really able to use Goose in a new way and upskill very quickly. And so I like to tell people my own AI journey, like in the end, really was like watching YouTube videos about Goose on Friday afternoons. Or, when I had a meeting canceled, I would go into Goose and go into Ernie and start asking questions and start kind of trying to break it and see what would happen. And I really needed the permission from Block and from Jack to do this. And what I want everyone else to know is you don't need permission, right? Goose is so easy to use for non-technical people, and it's open source. And so everything I've done on Goose, anyone can do. And that's what's incredibly exciting about the future of Block.
It's very much that compound learning, the small chunks of time on a consistent basis.
Yes, and on a platform that really anyone can use. This is not just meant for Block. Goose is for everyone.
Well, Simone, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for your time, your insights, and I absolutely love the passion. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And for the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green with Data Cloud Now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon.